So, welcome, Tim. We're here in your fantastic Seaview studio, and I want to hear more about you, Tim, and tell me about your interest in music.
I think I've always been interested in music, from a very young age. I've got vague memories of being, very young and singing my head off in my bedroom. And I got into music sort of professionally, as it were, through DJing.
Technical finger. Well, you had a different name initially.
Well, back in the day, Dirty Fingers is what most of my most releases are out under the name Dirty Fingers.
Okay.
And that was the DJ name that I used. And still do from time to time for drum and bass and jungle and that kind of thing. But yeah, I got a set of decks when I was about 19 and really enjoyed it and seemed to be quite good at it. So the next sort of logical progression was to start making music. So I went to college with a couple of friends of mine, started studying, went on to university, and got working for labels and releasing music and playing the club circuit and promoting parties and all that kind of thing. So
brilliant.
Yeah.
And how did you get involved in having Seaview Studio? How did that all come about?
Well, we had like an audio production business already anyway, but then when the opportunity came up for sort of this facility, the space was available and it was a question of whether we wanted to kind of move the studio. So where we were before was in Ashford.
Okay.
It's a nice little production suite, but it wasn't anywhere that you could have like a full band. And also it was like within a residential area, so I felt a little bit uncomfortable if you got people, clients and stuff coming. It's sort of in
wasn't the right area basically.
Not quite, no. So when the opportunity came up to sort of relocate to here, we came and had a little look round, and the whole place was empty garages. So we had, we had the opportunity to, sort out soundproofing and kind of configure stuff how we wanted to. That was about, that was in 2018, beginning of 2018 . So
wow, it's been going for quite a while then now.
Nearly 8 years now.
Whoa, that's really great. Well, it really does, doesn't it? We all missed it Christmas. Crazy. Tell me more about music, because you're involved in many different things. Of course, there's your wonderful wife Sophia and all the bands that she's doing and you're involved in. Tell us more about that.
Well, music is my life really. Everything I do. I mean, it's my whole raison d'être. I can't imagine doing anything else.
No.
It certainly does an awful lot for me. But music, I think, is possibly about the most undervalued and underrated commodity, if you want, whatever you want to call it, because I think music is so intrinsic to well-being, and we don't even sort of realise it's almost subliminal, subconscious. Anything, music brings joy. If you're having a bad day, then the right song or choice of songs can lift your moods massively.
Definitely.
If you're happy and you're celebrating, then put some tunes on, have a dance, all that kind of thing. Music just makes life better. So I like to kind of try and advocate and fly the flag for music as much as possible. Because like I said, I think it's distinctly undervalued.
Creativity is though, isn't it? Which is a real shame, because it's really can make you feel so much better to be involved in it and be part of it as well.
I'm quite big into sort of psychology and all that kind of stuff. The human existence itself. But there are lots of physiological responses, which are evoked by listening to music.
Interesting.
Favourite being exposure to low frequencies promotes the release of endorphins and dopamine and all that kind of stuff.
Cool, isn't that?
Well, in essence, bass makes you happy.
What about drum and bass? Does that mean
Absolutely.
you don't really happy?
Well, one of my favourite quotes out of it's actually a sample out of an old jungle track that says, "Rhythm is fundamental to the spirit, like the beat of a tribal drum."
Nice.
And drums have been around, for almost as long as humans have been around. So as a means means by which to communicate and and gather and all that kind of thing. So making organised noise, which is basically what music is. Probably started with drums.
Yeah, it would have done.
Yeah. There's just something absolutely compelling about drums and bass.
And will you tell us more about Folkestone Music Town as well?
Yeah. Well, the depth of and the wealth of talent around Folkestone is incredible.
Really is.
Like I say, I've operated in a few different areas, but the concentration of creative types, not just music, in Folkestone is brilliant. I think probably the coastline has a little bit to do with it, because I think a lot of people are inspired by water and the expanse of looking out across the channel and that kind of thing. Can help you clear your mind, and if you can settle down the nonsense of everyday life, then that's where there's room for creativity to come. So I think geographical location might have a contributory factor towards that. But yeah, anything I can do to celebrate music, but music in Folkestone and all the artists and venues which are in Folkestone, because I think community is also an important part of our well-being. And music is a fabulous way to build community, to enjoy community, to share things and moments and all that kind of stuff.
Definitely.
As well as collaborative work and all that kind of thing. So I think there's an awful lot of healthiness around having a healthy music scene. And Folkestone, obviously being the world's first music town, is I think a prime example of that, and I'm excited about the future, because things just get sort of better and better.
Definitely.
There's more and more music, and long may that continue.
Absolutely. And you're doing so much to encourage the younger generation as well. Went along to the Leeds Cliff Hole, and obviously that was amazing as well. What else are you doing in the future to encourage the youngest generation?
Anything I can, really. I'm chuffed to see that there are. We have music lessons here, so there are regularly, singing or piano or drum or guitar
as well.
lessons. So it's good to see people get involved with music, and I think you owe it to the following generations. I try to be the kind of sort of support network, the kind of resource which would have been useful for me when I was younger and coming up, and I remember people that have been kind of important or integral to my own development, being kind enough to share their time and wisdom and things like that. And I think we owe it to the generation that follow to try and help them, forwards their path, especially in the music industry, because it's an extremely difficult business. It's not got any easier over the last 20 odd years. It's just getting harder and harder, and that's still going to be the case. So we get by with a little help from our friends, right?
Indeed.
So trying to do anything which is going to provide opportunity and give people options and career paths and all that kind of thing. Because I think if we don't, the bit which frightens me is if there isn't those pathways that are available and people don't hone their skills and develop their craft and all that kind of thing, then we end up with a society with very little music, which feels like a pretty miserable place to me. So the more we can kind of help creators, the better. Really enjoying working on an artist development program that we've got running at the moment, with 5 acts, 2 solo artists, 3 bands. So some of the funding which we've managed to secure through Folkestone Music Town, we've been able to invest in the next generation.
Really great.
Which I'm really enjoying, and the guys that are involved with that seem to be getting a lot out of that as well. So I'm really pleased about that. I'd like to see more of that happen. Talk to quite a lot of venues and promoters about
next generation.
Under 18s or the 18 to 25 age bracket, because I think one thing which is easy to sort of overlook or not understand is dare I mention, you know, the COVID years, but you know, at a time, like I said, we tend to sort of pass things down through generations. So you know, it wasn't that long ago where if people were, you know, starting to come of age, that they would be allowed to go out to bars, pubs, clubs, music venues, and enjoy some music. With everything locked down, people never really had that opportunity, and so you know, it feels like there's a bit of a bump in the road, which still probably has ramifications, you know, now. So
it's missed a generation, so to speak, hasn't it?
Almost, yeah. I mean, you know, things are sort of starting to get a little bit more back to normal and all of that, but you know, with the cost of living and all that kind of stuff, you know, parties are more, seem to be more difficult to promote. There's less of a propensity to pay for anything to do with music, it seems, which I find somewhat criminal, but you sort of understand it a little bit when you've got so much music which is available on tap. You know, at the push of a button on the internet, you can access, you know, millions of tracks and all that kind of thing. So yeah, I think, you know, unless you've got the experience of you know, knowing how much fun just being at a live gig
is, which is fantastic to go and do.
Yeah, so it's one thing to consume music, you know, at home, you know, through headphones or the sound system.
But to experience it live is a whole different experience. I mean, it's wonderful. It's multi-sensory, isn't it?
Yes,
just going to ask you one more question, which I know that you're doing a new album at the moment. Tell us about that.
Well, hip hop's kind of my sort of first love in a lot of ways. I definitely identify as a junglist, and I've been into jungle and drum and bass since it started. But you know, I was massively into hip hop, and I've always been massively into hip hop since I was young. And I've put, you know, a few verses on, a few bits and pieces here and there, but you know, I've always kind of seen my position, you know, in front of the computer and this side of things rather than in the booth. But I do enjoy doing stuff, and like I say, the way the world is at the moment, there's an awful lot about the world which I'm not enjoying, and I don't think is quite right. I actually had an idea to start writing some tracks back in 2008, believe it or not. So
long time ago.
Yeah, you might remember that there was, you know, more cost of living crisis stuff
there
going
was
on
a
at the
financial crisis, 2008, wasn't it?
At that time, they called it the credit crunch.
Oh, yeah,
in 2007, my house blew up. And I lost everything basically, but I'm still here, still alive.
You're still here.
Yeah, and then obviously it wasn't that long after that you know, 2008, the credit crunch hit, and the company I was working for at the time, because I did have a day job for a little while, basically I lost my job. So yeah, it was kind of a bit of an up and down time, a lot of down.
So you're using that,
and that kind
lyrics,
of inspired me a bit
to write this album. Can't wait to hear it. I really can't.
Yeah, well, there's been quite a lot of water under the bridge since then, and you know, with the state of the world as it is now, there's you know, perhaps an awful lot more material to draw on. But yeah, I'm not pussyfooting around anything. I'm
good. Putting it out there, saying it as it is.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Tim. Really appreciate everything you're doing for music in Folkestone, and thank you for joining me. Well, you'd be here anyway in Seaview Studio. It's your place. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.